I think on the wage bill, if you take out last season, which obviously was the treble season, the wage bill has tended to be for the last I think it's 4 years, around the 350 level total. Obviously, you don't get to see within the accounts the first team split out, although we did have some data from UEFA that slipped out last year. I don't think City's sales are around reducing the wage bill. I think the underlying wage bill is will stay around that sort of 350, 360 level before bonuses or exceptional bonuses, shall we say, because clearly they've paid bonuses for the last few years because they keep winning the league. But I think last season, which were in the accounts, 22-23 was an exceptional year where they paid around about 420 million pounds, so probably around 70 million of exceptional bonuses. We'll see for last season where a more normal level is, i.e., a season where they've only won the league. I say only, but that's probably going to come in around about 350, 360, I suspect. Um, but as I say, I don't think it's about reducing wage bill. I think it's just about financial discipline as much as anything. They've got a lot of capacity on the PSR perspective. Probably the most capacity of any team in the league. Uh, Literally hundreds of millions of pounds of capacity on that analysis, and that's because they've combined relatively low operating losses with very substantial player profits on the trading side. They've done over £100 million for the last 2 seasons in player trading profits, largely from selling young players such as Palmer to Chelsea, albeit what now looks like an undervalue. City will have pocketed around £40 million of profit on that deal alone. So they do well on the PSR test, but I think they just want to keep their finances in check um, generally, even though they do have that capacity.
There's been a lot of talk around Pep Guardiola's future at the club. He's out of contract next summer. It's been reported that he won't make a decision until later this year on whether to sign an extension or not. Do you think it'll take a big offer to get him to stay for another year?
Well, I suspect it's not purely money. I mean, I think he's obviously a very wealthy man now. Probably paid around £20 million a year already by City. So I don't think it'd be purely a financial decision. Um, but clearly, there's always a price, and when he looks around at what else he could do, there are probably few options in terms of other managerial roles. So I think for the Pep situation, it's probably either he's burnt out, in which case probably no money is going to make a difference, or City will incentivize him very, very generously to stay. And then that might take the form beyond just pure salary. I mean, I think it's been surprising that it's not already been put in place, that because he's such a key individual, that he doesn't have what would be seen in the business world more commonly around equity incentivization in the company. So, if he was a leading executive in really any of the businesses that Abu Dhabi and their partner Silver Lake own, he would be very heavily incentivized to grow the business or to benefit from the growth of the business. And I wouldn't be surprised if he was given some kind of equity incentive as part of his remuneration package to keep him aligned and incentivized at the club from a financial perspective. But as I say, he's already so wealthy that it may be that really the key decision for him is about burnout and about whether he wants to really leave Manchester. I think that's probably City's biggest hurdle. Um, but he's been there, 9 years at the end of the contract. There's not many people that spend almost a decade in a foreign city that they don't like. So he must feel at home in Manchester, and I think there is a chance that he'll sign an extension, and we'll know more next year. Clearly, if he goes, it'll be a big hole for City to fill.
Obviously, he's got quite close ties with some of the people above him at Man City, the likes of, I don't know how to say, is it Begiristain? I don't know.
Begiristain, yeah.
And
And,
Soriano.
and Soriano, yeah.
Yeah. Is there a chance that those people could follow him out the door if he were to leave?
Yeah, I mean, we don't know. You would think that from a corporate planning perspective, the ownership again, these are proficient investors in companies and businesses around the world. They would have front of mind succession issues, and you would think that they would be very, very keen to prevent, from a planning perspective, all of their senior management team leaving at the same time. And that's particularly so because they recently lost Barada to United as CEO. So you would have a situation, if that was the case, that within a period of about 18 months, City would have lost really the whole of the key executive management operation. And you would think that that is unlikely to be allowed to happen as much as anything. But ultimately, if people say that they want a new challenge, there's limited amounts that you can do about it. I just think from a planning perspective, City would have worked on the basis that they need to make sure that that doesn't happen all at once. It did happen at United all at once when Gill left at the same time as Ferguson. And in many ways, United have suffered the consequences of that for 10 years. So, it is a big issue, but I think it seems to be very unlikely, given the people who own the club. It seems, and not just own the club, but are involved on a regular basis. It seems very unlikely to me that they would allow that succession issue to occur all in one go. I think they will make sure that they manage it out over a smooth period. Even if those people want to leave, and we don't know whether they do or not, and it may be that Soriano and Begiristain are not necessarily aligned in their aspirations to leave Manchester. We just don't know, so we'll see over time. But I think good planning would mean that you would not allow that to happen. That would be a very big issue for the club.
You've just watched a segment from Football Insider's brand new podcast, The Inside Track, with me, Lewis Pearce, alongside the guests on the show. Thanks very much for tuning in. Please do give the video a like, comment your thoughts on the topic, and feel free to share on your social media pages. If you want to listen to the full podcast episode, click the link in the description below. Keep your eyes peeled for plenty more content and exclusives here on The Inside Track.